Hey guys, how y'all doing? Today is July 5th, 2015, and hope you're all doing well out there. Uh, so my wife and I, this morning, we took our son to church. Now he's 3 years old and about 8 months. So we weren't sure if he was going to be, if he'd listen very well, or if he'd sit still long enough and whatnot for the church. And there was a baptism as well, so that made it a bit longer, but he got through it really well, and it was really awesome. Because my wife and I, we are very religious people, and we believe going to church is mandatory and it's the right thing to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my history with God, my relationship with God. See, I've been writing in a journal every day now since March 26, 2003. Every single day I've been writing in a journal up till now. I just started a new journal today, and it's journal number 102. So I went through 101 journals from 2003 to up to this present point, July 5th, 2015. So I remember my wife and I, we were going to university when we had an apartment, and I believe this was in 2005. I wrote about it. I don't remember the date. I don't remember why. But we were watching the movie Dead Man Walking. Now that movie is the one about Sean Penn and Susan Sarandon, and he's going to be put to death by lethal injection for, I think, probably murder. I forget. I can't remember the movie. But something touched me with that movie when I watched it that day with my wife. And, she's trying to get him to believe, to become religious, and, to believe that, there's a God, and God is there, and He'll forgive you of your sins and whatnot. And I feel like right there, something in my brain clicked. And I think I started to cry, if I remember right. I started to cry. I just felt so bad. Because before that, I did not believe in religion at all. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it didn't make any sense. That it was ridiculous. The Bible was written by some person, whoever felt like it. Or there was no such thing as God. Jesus, Son of Man. And so that day, I had this feeling just come over me, and I accepted Jesus into my heart right there. During that movie, it was so powerful of a message that it hit me so hard, and I was just kind of overwhelmed with it, the feeling that I got. And my wife was very, very happy, because she always was a very religious person growing up. Her family always went to church. She had very conservative views, and I have grown to have conservative views as well. Being with her, it's just been perfect, awesome. Now we have a son and a daughter on the way next month. We've been married now for almost 7 years. We've been together for over 12. So that was in 2005, and if I could find my journal, I could find through it, and I could find that specific day where I welcomed Jesus, God, into my heart, where I wasn't going to be a doubter anymore. I felt that, God was the right way to go. There was no other way but God's way. So I felt like I felt His presence there with me that day. And ever since then, we've been going to church, and we say our prayers with our son every night before he goes to bed and whatnot. But I'm going to tell you guys about another thing that happened to me. And I truly believe it was the divine, something that happened. I lost a great aunt on April 22nd, 2012. And she was just fantastic. She was a wonderful, wonderful person. I find when I think about her now being deceased, I can't think about it too hard, because it's very, very sad. We shared the same birthday. We used to call each other on our birthdays. Uh, she just was just someone very, very special to me. And I remember her funeral was on April 26th, 2012. And I remember thinking that if I feel this way about losing her, how does her kids feel about losing her? And it was a very sad scene because she was a very much loved woman. And I remember at her funeral, this is no word, this is no lie, I'm telling you this right now. I never really told anybody this, but I'm broadcasting it on YouTube for the world to know. But during her funeral, when I was sitting there next to my brother, I was just sitting there, and then suddenly I was overcome with peace, with serenity, with something happened to me at her funeral. It's something I never experienced before. It wasn't like when I first experienced God. This was completely something else. I was just sitting there and I was above myself. I felt like it was an out-of-body experience type thing. I was looking down upon myself. I was looking down upon everybody. And I had nothing but peace and kindness and love in my heart. And some people, they search for something like that their whole life. And that happened to me at her funeral. And it just was an amazing, amazing feeling. It was divine. I don't know if it was her trying to reach out to me, but I believe that it was God that was telling me that everything was going to be okay and that we'll all get through this. But I felt like he was coming towards me to message me, to tell me that everybody was going to be fine and she's in a better place. I look at it now and I'm not lying. To me, I was an out-of-body experience. There was nothing I ever felt before in my life. You might think I'm crazy by saying this now and putting this on YouTube, but I believe that God was right there with me and gave me this inner peace, this glow, this complete happiness. It was just something I never ever experienced in my life. It was just total something that people spend their life trying to achieve, trying to have happen to them, and it happened to me. And I just left her funeral confused, partially scared, just very much just awoken by what I just felt. When I came back to reality, it was as if I snapped my fingers and came back down to where I was. But for me, I felt like I was above everybody, looking down. And there was a lot of sorrow and sadness, but I felt peace in my heart. And I tried to find peace for everybody else. I believe it was truly divine. It was something that I believe God was trying to get through to me for me, for my own peace, to find, like a salvation type situation in my heart for the way I was feeling. But it's never happened to me ever again, and that was April 26, 2012. Excuse me. And some people search their whole lives for something like that. They believe in God, they serve God, they go to church regularly, they pray. They use God as their everyday presence to get them through their daily lifestyle. And a lot of people wish for something like that, and that's basically happened to me twice. The first time it wasn't so much. The first time was welcoming Jesus into my heart. But what happened here at her funeral was truly, I believe, God's way of reaching out to me, to show me that everything was going to be fine. And I've only told probably 3 people this in my life, and now I'm saying it here for my YouTube my YouTube friends to understand that God is real. And no matter what you say, things will always get better no matter what. He'll never, give you more than what you can handle. You know, it'll always take a load off your back. You know, I'm not preaching to anybody here. I'm not saying believe in God or don't believe in God. You can believe in whatever you want. But all I'm saying here is that I'm making this video just to tell people about what my experience and what happened to me. And the situation, when I think about it now, it's still mind-boggling to me. It's still hard to explain. I explained it to my wife because later on, because she wasn't at the funeral, she had something important going on. And I got home and I told her, and I was basically crying, telling her what happened to me. And together we just realized, you know, it had to have been God speaking to me. I still can't get over it. Like, I keep going back to it. I was sitting there just, you know, in the pews or whatever, and suddenly I was out of my body. I was peaceful. It was unbelievable. I felt the love that I've never felt from anything ever in my life. I felt peace. It was just amazing, that feeling. It's never happened to me since, and I doubt it'll probably happen ever again. But I believe that God reached out and touched me there. And if I could have told everybody in that church that day what had just happened to me, I would have. But it was crazy to me because I didn't know what was going on. Like, I felt above myself, and the peaceful feeling that everything was going to be alright, you know. Perhaps it was her reaching out to me, you know, or perhaps, like I said, it was God reaching out to me. So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make this little video just to say, you know, put your faith in God if you're having difficulties in your life. You know, God is here for us. God is good. God is great. I'm not putting my views on anybody, so don't think I'm doing that, because I didn't like that when people were doing that to me before I became a believer in you know, God. I just wanted to talk about my experience and what had happened to me that particular day on April 26, 2012. So I mean, you can believe in what you want, but this video, you know, that feeling that I had that day reinforced my love of God even more, because I believe God was with me. He was on my side. He was there to help. He was there to protect. He was there for love. And I will never ever doubt God's presence ever again. I have not since then. I never will doubt God, because I believe that God is real, and He comes to people, and He comes in many shapes and forms. And He's a good God, and He's a loving God, and He's a kind God, and He really does care. So if you put your faith in God, you'll go far in life. I really believe that. So anyhow, thanks for watching this video. Like I said, I probably told this story 3 times about what had happened to me. I never even told my own mother about it, or my brother, who happened to be sitting next to me. It was just such a divine experience, and I wrote about it as I read about everything that happens to me in my daily lifestyle. And you know, tears were coming down my eyes. I was crying. Like, it was one of those moments that you know that just wasn't normal, but you also know that it was so right for the time being. It was just out of this world feeling. It struck me so hard. Like I said, I believe that it was God. It was God speaking to me, letting me know that amongst all these sad people, that everything was going to be okay. She was going to be in a better place. Aaron, I want you to feel love right now. I want you to feel like you can go on with your life. It was just peaceful beyond anything. And if that ever happens to me again, I'll speak about it or I'll write about it. But it hasn't happened to me since, so I basically had that happen to me twice. When I accepted God into my heart, I had that feeling watching that movie that came over me. But when it happened to me, like I said, in the church at her funeral, that was just something that was just completely out of this world. It was not. I can't explain it. Somebody might think I'm crazy, but I'm not. I'm not crazy. It was God's love. God was reaching out to me, and yeah, it was just one of those situations that some people can just dream about in life, to be that close to God. And I was that close to God, and I will never ever doubt, His promise, His love. So if you're having a hard time in your life, put your faith in God, because God will never give you any more than you can handle. You have a stressful life. Say a prayer every now and then. You never know what might happen. It's something divine happened to me. It can easily happen to you as well. So anyhow, thanks for watching this video. It's a way different video for anything I've ever done. I just wanted to talk about this to see if anybody else can relate to it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate it.